Hello and welcome to Binary News, your daily dose of focused gaming news with myself, Amata. Today is the 6th of July and I have some news for you today regarding Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Now, what I'm going to be focusing on today is some comments from the creative director Bret Robbins, as of course Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is going to be the first game in the franchise that's going to be developed with next-gen consoles in mind, as of course Ghosts was a previous-gen game for most part. Of course, Sledgehammer Games is targeting Xbox One, PC and PS4, as of course High Moon Studios are taking care of the current gen. So while it is coming out on current gen, it is being designed with the next generation and PC in mind. So what Bret Robbins had to say was basically his thoughts on the shooter and whether or not it was safe to assume this could be called the definitive Call of Duty experience. And he said, quote, "I think we have a great Call of Duty on our hands. I think it's going to be really thrilling for people. It's going to look fantastic on the new consoles and on the PC. People are really excited about it. I think it's a really fun and beautiful game." And as well as this, Sledgehammer are basically saying that Advanced Warfare will have a stronger story than previous games, and apparently they're working hard to ensure that you invest time into it. And Bret said, quote, "I really hope the players do invest the time. I think we're telling a really compelling story this time around. It's obviously an original story that we really haven't seen before. We have some great new characters that we're introducing, characters like Jonathan Iron, who's played by Kevin Spacey. We're also doing a lot with our cinematics and the way we tell the story within the game. We're trying to make it very immersive, we're trying to create those really memorable characters. Yeah, I think people will really enjoy the story." Which are some pretty bold claims because, well, let's be honest, most people play Call of Duty for the multiplayer, which is fair enough. The multiplayer is very, very strong. Not personally my cup of tea, but, you know, it doesn't have to be everyone's cup of tea. Many people enjoy the multiplayer for what it is, and most people argue that, well, that's what they buy the game for. That is why they spend so much time and effort in it, is for the multiplayer. Some people don't even bother at all with the single player, and, well, that may be down to the fact that it's kind of been a very linear experience up until this point. Very scripted, lots of, you know, flashy cutscenes, but not much else. Basically, style and no substance is how I've heard it described. So I don't really blame people for going straight to the meat, where the heart and soul of the game is, which is of course the lovingly crafted multiplayer. So it'd be interesting to see if they can actually turn this around, if they can put enough interesting things in the single player to make the people who perhaps never bothered with one for a long time to actually go back and play the single player, or even start off with the single player. I think it's a fairly difficult task, but one that could be doable if, of course, they are free to make innovations, which I think Sledgehammer are at least trying to do. Of course, we haven't really seen much of Advanced Warfare. We saw some fairly scripted stuff at E3, but that's kind of what E3 is for, is to say, hey, look, this is how pretty our game looks. Hopefully we'll get some actual gameplay, unedited, of course. Decent chunk of it at least at upcoming events such as, say, Gamescom. I think it's going to be interesting to see if Sledgehammer can put their money where their mouth is, or if it's going to be another story of people very much enjoying the multiplayer but not really bothering with the single player. I want to hear from some veteran Call of Duty players though. What do you think Sledgehammer will have to do to actually drive people who have been not bothering the single player back to it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.